quiet city is a contradiction in terms. So is the damaged Central High School in Grand Forks. School fell silent when the school year ended early.
I feel sorry for the person who lived here.
And students like John Holwiger traded books for sandbags to save the town.
It's been a hard time, a lot of work going into the cleanup. After all the work that went for nothing with the sandbagging, so it's been about probably about 3 or 4 months of pretty much up your hill.
Okay, I'll find you something to do.
Joanne Fietzik is working one more time on a different type of flood duty.
Because we want prom to go on, because that's a big thing for us, and it was everybody's thing.
Converting an aircraft hangar that housed refugees into a dance hall.
We're gonna have a blast.
Ready? Big smile, looking at me.
How's that look?
Very pretty.
Think this will work? All right. Oh, it's so bad. We gotta get out of here. That's all I know.
Hi, welcome to the Prom.
This is an evening to let loose, to have fun, to enjoy life. For these 1,200 teenagers, it's an evening they've earned.
It's awesome! It's prom, buddy!
Kids said that by not having, the end of their school year, there was no closure for their adolescence. And being in a rock band, I can kind of relate to that.
And so on this night of all nights, the band Soul Asylum ushers in a sense of joy for these teenagers who never once let their hopes wash away.
The view from I-94 as the storm approached Monticello was ominous. When it moved in, it hit with a force that resembled more a typhoon than a summer storm.
Michelle?
In the storm's wake, a mobile home park ripped apart.
Just kind of devastating.
What happened? Wind, I guess.
You see trees pulled up by their roots, some of them taking down power lines with them.
The whole roof is gone off the apartment building.
It's probably the worst building hit that we've seen so far.
But the worst is here, where the storm moved in with a sudden force.
They were saying, take cover, and I didn't really take it seriously.
Not that I've been in a lot of storms, but I've never seen anything like this from a straight wind.
Cleanup in this Wright County town began almost immediately.
Mommy!
But there are some effects of this storm that might linger even after the debris is cleared. In Monticello, Mike Binkley, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Everything's homemade, it's good.
Thank you for calling the Macaroni Grill Ridgedale. This is Courtney. How may I help you? I just kind of walk around. Singing to me is just my way of life. Music is my life. My name is Courtney Keenan, and I am an opera singer at the Macaroni Grill. Authentic Italian restaurant, complete with opera singers. I want to perform, whether it be opera or musical theater, anything. I just want to perform. It's, they get their food here and they get a source of entertainment.
Well, it adds something different to the restaurant.
It adds a wonderful ambience.
Yes.
The busier it is, the more you can feel it. It's energetic, people are entertained. And it's great that I can have a job doing something that I like.
Pedro.
Thank you.
State Fair. Won't stay put. Hey, welcome to the 1997 Minnesota State Fair, broadcasting live.
State Fair!
Here at the Minnesota State Fair.
Tweety winner.
But everybody loves it, man. It's the Minnesota State Fair. It's the first day. You ready for this? My voice feels it. The closer you get to me, the closer you get to heaven. I'm just a demonstrator sent down to sell kitchen gadgets from heaven. My name is Billy Newcomb. You want the quick chopper. Without my voice, I'm out of business. But wait, I'm not done yet. Look at here. How many of you out there like coleslaw occasionally? Come on, raise your hands. It's good for business. Well, last thing they thought was they were going to buy a salsa maker when they came to the fair this morning. It's my job to make them decide they can't live without one. Eat a whole spoonful of garlic before you go to bed, and you'll sleep like a baby. Yep. Do you ladies know why? Because you're going to sleep alone. I tried it. The dog wouldn't sleep with me. Yeah, look. This thing unbelievable.
He seems like he's somebody from the Home Shopping Network. He's got the same flair.
I don't rate this material. They make me say it. Look, here's some fresh garlic. Whether they're going to buy or not, I give them a show. Right. Does he like my salsa, though?
Yes.
Oh, bless him, man. I love Minnesota people. The Midwest people are my grain of salt, man. You know? My voice is my tool. But watch it's the first day. My voice feels it at the wonderful Minnesota get-together, the Minnesota State Fair.
Like that. Channel 5's Bob McNaney is live in St. Paul with details for us. Bob?
Well, Chris, you're driving along just like this. You approach an intersection. You have a green light. But an officer has to go the other way in front of you. He obviously has a red light and needs to get through the intersection. So he'll hit a switch in his car, which will activate a small piece of equipment that you see up on the traffic signal. That'll turn the signal.
ENG and satellite news gathering safety. We're not talking about it enough lately. I'm Dave Wertheimer. I'm the Assistant Director of Photojournalism here at KSTP Television in Minneapolis. I'm also the National Press Photographers Association Geek Chair. The tape you're about to see is something I took upon myself to get the word out that there have been a lot of accidents lately and people just aren't thinking. People just aren't looking up. You're going to see some graphic things and you're going to see some suggestions as to things that you can do in the field to prevent from getting hurt or even killed.
13 full.
We're doing it more often with fewer people. By going live more often and in more places, are we really thinking about safety?
It happens all the time. Heavy weather means getting that footage back live as quickly as possible.
It was shot in,
Getting it back quick doesn't mean you can compromise safety.
So it took me about 10 minutes after the storm had passed before I finally decided to put the mast up even 5 feet, as you can see.
This truck is parked across the street from the power lines on purpose. Even with all the thunder and the lightning and everything else, Jim and the truck there thought about where the power lines were.
There's a general rule of thumb as to how far you should put your mast or dish up to a line.
When parking the truck, we want to make sure that we don't have any power lines overhead, and we usually want to judge that at 2 lengths of the truck, which works out to about 35 to 40 feet.
35 to 40 feet, or 2 truck lengths, a distance to try and live by or to try and save your life by. But we all know in a lot of situations it's tough to find that much distance when setting up a live shot.
411 upper at 1845.
Satellite shots can be just as dangerous as microwave shots. We have the microwave mast up and the satellite dish up for this shot for different reasons, but I won't go into that. But we have to check safety on all counts. Just as important to make sure that everything on top of that truck is far away from any obstruction. Power lines, lightning, trees, anything. Safety first.
Half, you can get in closer. Of course, it is a cable TV line.
I think that's just dandy. Watch out, look. Jesus.
On
I'm just kind of interested to see what's going to happen to all the power and all the cable TV here when that thing fires up. Push 250 watts of microwave energy through that cable. It has a tendency to get radiation.
Pretty close to the line.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Potential for an accident. Well, luckily this day.
I wanted to make a point especially about night. This is shot at natural light. The best weapon you have with safety at night is one of these. First thing you do, hop out of the truck, grab your flashlight, use your spotlight in the truck, look at your dish, then look at your power lines. Too close, 2 to 3 truck lengths away. This is way too close. A simple flashlight or spotlight can save your life. It doesn't take much. What I'm about to show you is some very graphic video from Des Moines, Iowa from September of 1997. This is a package from an accident where 2 people were very seriously hurt.
It was supposed to be another routine live report for our 6 o'clock news. But as David Bingham and Kimberly Arms set up the news equipment, the mast on the News 5 live truck came in contact with a 13,000-volt power line.
I heard a scream, and then she came around, and she must have hit her head on the hot van. And I heard a pop, another scream. I was over there. I came running as fast as I can to help, see if I could do anything. And I told the other guys to call 911 and get someone over here as fast as I can. When I got over here, they were burning. Both of them were laying side by side. They were both on fire. And so I took off my shirt. I was starting to take off there, do something to get the fire off them. The guy told me the van was hot, so I stepped away and did what I could. And
witnesses say David Bingham was shocked first, then swept under the live truck. Kimberly Arms went to help him when she, too, was jolted by the electricity.
So I thought she was bending over to grab him or to help him maybe, and she got shocked and kind of jumped for a second, and then she fell to the ground.
It's a routine procedure to raise the mast on the live truck. The dish on the mast is what sends the signal from the live shot, and operators are trained to avoid areas with power lines. Both David Bingham and Kimberly Arms work as photojournalists, meaning they're trained to work or as photographers. In this case, David was preparing to report the story, while Kim worked as his photographer. Both have been at News 5 a little more than 2 months. David is originally from Central Iowa, and he moved back here to be closer to family. David is 29. He's married with a baby daughter, and he has a great sense of humor. Kimberly Arms came to us from our TV station in Lincoln, Nebraska. She's a 25-year-old newlywed, and she was proving to be a hard-working news gatherer.
It only takes 110 volts, a common power outlet, to hurt you. Think of what 7,200 volts could do to sand.
It was still energized when it came down before it tripped the circuit. And this is where it came in contact with the ground.
That power line is 7,200 volts, so when it hits the ground, it's hot enough to turn the dirt into glass, and it's still hot to the touch.
Here's some very graphic footage from Washington, D.C. This is where Al Battle passed away. He was a 20-year veteran of CNN, and this is how his life.
Get out of there! Get him out of there! Yeah, there might be some.
What the hell's in there? God damn.
Call 911!
I'll come across.
It's a terrible situation, and a situation with, like Al, I tell you, it really gets your attention.
It's the responsibility of everyone in the field and in the newsroom for safety. If a tech in the field says no, no means no. Safety first. It's everyone's responsibility.
So you want to make sure that the mast is going up freely, that the coil is going up freely.
Lots of things to think about. After all, it's just a live shot, right? It's just your life, right?
Not stand any kind of water, any
Smart thing is to just think. Think for a second. When you're in a hurry, you'll forget, you'll mess up. Think before you act.
Just an hour ago. Yeah, I think every time you put the mast up, you have to be aware of that. And the problem is, this could happen to any of us. Absolutely any of us. People, I've been doing this for 23 years in the microwave trucks with masts. So I put them up a lot of times. And yes, I have come close to doing some stupid things. But you just, that's why we have these signs that I keep putting all over this mast to try to remind myself to look up just before I go. Usually, I think the safest thing for me is I try to do it in a procedural way. I get the truck, get the mast getting ready to go up, I lift the dish to its inclined position so I can aim it. Then, when I'm doing that, I'm also looking to make sure that there's nothing above the mast. And then I can automatically send it up and go about my business without worrying how close I am to something. And if I am close to something like a tree limb or power lines or something, and the truck has a lean to it, then I work that out. I try to find another way. I try to find a way to jack the truck differently or move it or something.
Okay, we finished our live shot now. What we want to do is reverse all the processes that includes cutting off the microwave, stowing our dish to its stowed position, lowering the mast. We're checking around the vehicle to make sure that everything we've done is clean. We've watched the mast as it comes down. We haven't had any obstructions. The most important thing is we want to make sure that we return our mast airlock switch to its stowed position.
And when that award-winning live shot is all said and done, don't forget, you may be in a hurry to get home, but make sure everything's down and all ready to go. Watch out for those lights and think safety.
If your truck doesn't have mast warning systems, you can put them in after the truck has been built, like this one.
I just stowed the mast. There are two magnets that come together. If the magnets are locked onto each other, the mast alert will now go off when I engage it into gear.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of things on the tape that you've just seen, but most important is that you've watched it and you've gotten the word out in your newsroom. Getting the word out and just talking about this subject, ENG safety, satellite news gatherings, is the most important thing. Just remember, think safety, look up.
Kyle, get him fucking out of there! Get him out of the way! Now!
Shoot it, run. Yeah, there might be some.
Hell's in there? God damn.
Call 911! Call 911 now!
I'll come across.
The sea is very beautiful. The sky is very beautiful. The building is also very beautiful.
The high-rises of Hong Kong reach into the often hazy Asian sky. The reflection creates a spectacular gateway to China. Hong Kong owes much of its architectural brilliance to a town that doesn't even have a skyline and a small company here in Owatonna, Minnesota. Viracon Glass makes windows.
It has put literally hundreds of Minnesotans to work because of that market penetration and demand for our products over there.
This was once seasonal work, but the building boom in Hong Kong and beyond has created about 500 year-round jobs here in Owatonna in just the past few years. Todd Dorsey, for one, has benefited.
Yeah, it gives you good job satisfaction. Be able to look at the skyline and say, yeah, we did that building and that building.
Viracon did the glass for Asia's second tallest building, Central Plaza, along with dozens of other buildings here. Viracon has the glass fabrication contract for 75% of all the new commercial construction here in Hong Kong.
Initially, there's one terminal.
That includes work here at the soon-to-be-completed new $21 billion Hong Kong airport. So how did a small company get in on all this? Simple. They realized years ago that Asia was about the only place left in the world building skyscrapers in large numbers. So they rolled up their sleeves and made friends here.
Some of our most recent projects, like the Hong Kong Convention Center, was actually where the handover ceremony for Hong Kong being reverted back to China. So to see that on TV for our employees was really gratifying.
This Minnesota-made glass doesn't just tower above the city. It comes right down here to the street level and in a way merges modern high-finance Hong Kong with the street-level vendor.
See pictures of the projects we've done. Sort of makes you proud, you know, when you see this great big thing and you've created the glass for it.
Exciting to think that Minnesota is part of this. Here we are, thousands and thousands of miles from Minnesota, and yet our employees, our hard-working Minnesotans, are part of this.
In Hong Kong, Bob McNaney, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
It's just like chaos, but it's organized chaos. Can't get much more different. Completely. I mean, there's nothing even remotely the same.
No, it's not Eden Prairie.
Gordon Frayne and his family left the suburbs for a high-rise here in Hong Kong.
Very similar to a Saturday in Minnesota.
Gordon's job with Honeywell brought the family here.
They learn something new just about every time we go out, even just running to the store or running.
Many Minnesotans at one time or another live overseas. But few live in a place which has the potential for such dramatic change. The British handover of Hong Kong to the Chinese has created much conversation and some concern. But so far, the noticeable change goes only as deep as a new flag.
Ni hao is hello, xie xie is thank you, and zai chen is goodbye.
10-year-old Michael and his sisters have adapted well to their new home, although they admit learning Cantonese in school is a bit odd.
I can come home and finish work here, tap into the office back in Minneapolis because of the time difference, and wake up the next day and it's all set.
Bill Bastian and his family are here from Plymouth. Bill works for Cargill.
They don't have hardware stores. So if something breaks here, you have to just make this all day, all weekend effort to find the part.
Cute little thing. It's tiny.
Just getting laundry done is an incredible chore. We have a washing machine that, you know, holds about 2 towels. So it runs from dawn till dusk.
The little things make it challenging, but both families say there are more significant challenges here, challenges Minnesota doesn't offer.
I do feel like a minority, and you've probably felt that from just walking around. And being from Minnesota, where we all kind of tend to look alike, that's been a real shock to all of us and an adjustment, but I think it's a healthy one.
It's the kids who stand to gain the most, their parents say, even if they don't appreciate it now. After all, while most Minnesota kids go to Valley Fair for a field trip, these kids have visited the Great Wall of China. Hong Kong, Bob McNaney, Channel 5 Eyewitness News. This is not your everyday Northwest Airlines flight.
We'll give you all 4 seats in that row.
This is Northwest Flight 97, the longest regularly scheduled nonstop flight in the world. 15.5 hours from the Twin Cities to Hong Kong.
It's a very significant gateway for us, particularly in the winter months, because this route will open up, will require flying over Russia and mainland China, which is something very unique to U.S. aviation.
The importance of this flight for most Minnesotans is not how it gets you there, but where it's going. Hong Kong is the front door to China, the world's fastest growing economy.
Especially because Northwest Airlines now has this inaugural flight that we're on that will lead to opening doors to China.
Well, it was just south of Anchorage, I guess.
Time is money. This nonstop route saves several hours compared to the old route that stopped in Japan.
Saves a lot of time. Used to have to go to Narita and have a little layover.
Flying 7,500 miles is not as easy as filling up a 747 and taking off. In fact, flights are leaving here with upwards of 80 empty seats in order to cut weight. In order to a full load of passengers, cargo, and fuel, the airport faces building a 1,000-foot extension to its longest runway.
So we'll go through the controversy and all the debates of whether it's good or bad. In the end, I think that for the additional 3 or 4 flights that take place a week, the environmental impact is very negligible, probably not even noticeable, and the economic benefit to the community simply overrides that, in our opinion.
But Northwest is only part one of this two-part plan by the Metropolitan Airports Commission. Representatives are here in Hong Kong trying to sign a deal with China.
If that happens, Minneapolis-St. Paul will be one of only two markets in the entire United States that will have service to Hong Kong, Tokyo, Osaka, and ultimately Beijing, which is an incredible access to really the most powerful economic market in the world right now.
Bob McNaney, Channel 5, Eyewitness News.
It's just fraught with tremendous opportunity.
All you have to do is count the people to see those opportunities. 1 out of every 5 people walking the earth lives here in China.
The numbers of people we have to deal with here are so huge that you have to take that very seriously. And our China initiative does just that.
The China initiative Lieutenant Governor Joanne Benson told us about on our trip here to Hong Kong is a state project to teach Minnesota companies how to do business here in China. This trade mission and the governor's trip later in November is designed to open doors.
Something else we won't see in most countries. High-rise industrial buildings.
I know, this is very unusual.
Bloomington-based Donaldson Corporation set up this plant in Hong Kong less than a decade ago. They make small filters here.
Pleats put in over here?
Yeah.
It is a model of potential opportunity. Sales here the first year reached $1 million.
And it's amazing.
This year, $55 million. To understand the enormous potential here in China, all you have to do is talk about eggs. The Chinese government wants each citizen to eat 2 eggs every week.
And if you run the numbers, in order to feed the hens to lay those eggs, would take all of our corn production in Minnesota.
We need to be here in China, we need to be making tax, we need to be stressing trade and the mutual benefit of trade. So it's very, very important for us as a state.
Some of Minnesota's biggest business players look to China for significant growth. Honeywell, for example, did $250 million in revenue here last year. By the year 2000, that number could double. Twin Cities-based Medtronic began making pacemakers in China this month.
But we're investing for the future because with 1.2 billion people worldwide and a very large need from a medical viewpoint, you can't ignore the market.
From high-tech to agricultural products, Minnesota is uniquely positioned to meet the needs of China.
If we can grow jobs in Minnesota, if we can grow high-paying jobs in Minnesota, if we can improve our exports and our strength in the export market, we win.
In Hong Kong, Bob McNaney, Channel 5.
Flight from Minneapolis, St. Paul to Hong Kong. The longest non-stop flight in the world on a regularly scheduled basis.
To China.
Because this route will open up, will require flying over Russia and mainland China, which is something very unique to U.S. aviation.
It was just south of Anchorage, I guess.
Minneapolis-St. Paul will be one of only two markets in the entire United States that will have service to Hong Kong.
We're in Victoria Park, which is right in the middle of downtown Hong Kong. I don't suspect there are very many folks in Minnesota that are actively engaging in it.
Hey! It's a good exercise to come out in the morning and get the fresh air.
Can't get much more different. Completely. Nothing even remotely the same.
No, it's not Eden Prairie.
The sea is very beautiful. The sky is very beautiful. The building is also very beautiful.
It's a very unique place. This city is very important to, like other countries, to link Eastern and Western world together.
Well, I don't know how to describe it, but this is because this is my country.
But really, Hong Kong is a very nice city. 24 hours long activities.
Exciting to think that Minnesota is part of this. Here we are, thousands and thousands of miles from Minnesota, and yet our employees, our hardworking Minnesotans, are part of this.